Another great day and opportunity to grow the sport of hockey. I'm so pleased to be joined by Maura Crowell, the head coach of the Dartmouth University Big Green. Full disclosure, Maura, my daughter graduated in 2023 from Dartmouth. She wasn't a hockey player. She was a rower. So I know where you're from. I know where you're working. And I also know you went to college at Colgate because my son played hockey there for 3 years before transferring to Northeastern. So I got your background down pretty good.
All right. How about that crossover? That's awesome. Very cool to hear.
I know it started at St. Mark's and then it continued from there. So why don't you educate us on your journey through hockey?
Yeah, sure. Massachusetts native. Proud of that. Grew up at a time where there wasn't a lot of girls hockey in my area. So I played boys hockey for a while. And went to St. Mark's prep school, boarding school. Wasn't something I was expecting, but needed to do to get that exposure. And it certainly helped. Led me to Colgate University. Spent 4 fun years at Colgate, helped that program jump from D3 to D1 in my senior year, and very proud of where it is now. From there, hockey never really left my life. I went back to St. Mark's and started coaching, and did that for a year, and then reached out to some contacts and got into the college game. So spent a couple of years at Connecticut College with the Camels, got my master's degree while there. Came out of there, got a head coaching job at UMass Boston right away. Spent 5 years at UMass Boston, learned a ton, very unique setting right there in the city. And from UMass Boston, went over to Harvard right down the road, and spent 5 great years there. That led me to my job at UMD, Minnesota Duluth. Was there for 9 years. And now I'm back on the East Coast, closer to family and my roots, and in my first year at Dartmouth.
Can you explain why the ECAC on the women's side is just so darn competitive night in and night out?
Well, I think the history of the programs in our league has something to do with it. These are schools and universities that care a lot about women's hockey. So the resources are being put towards our sport, which is great to see. I think there's recognition of the programs out here because they've been good for a really long time. Educational opportunities can't be ignored, especially in our Ivy League schools. And, there are a lot of hockey players out east, whether it's in Canada or in the United States. So we have a pretty good hotbed right around us. And a lot of people want to go to school where their parents and family can see them. So it's a great league to play hockey in.
Does the recruiting pitch for you change much? I know you worked at Harvard, and now obviously the WCHA and the women's side is phenomenal, and you got a lot of big schools there. But does it change much when you leave University of Minnesota Duluth and come to Dartmouth?
Certainly, there are some things that we need to look for at Dartmouth academically that are different from conversations that we would have at Minnesota Duluth. But in terms of my style of coaching and what kind of players I'm looking for, what kind of culture I want to have, none of that changes. So that's been really fun, and that helped make the transition pretty seamless because I started, about a week before June 15th, which was the opening of our recruiting timeline. So that worked out well for me, for sure.
I know you're coming off a lot of big wins, and I know you're going into a big Cornell-Colgate weekend. I know that's a massive weekend for any team in the ECAC. But who's your biggest rival? Harvard? Is it fair to say Dartmouth's biggest rival is Harvard?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah, that was a really fun series to be a part of again on the green side this time around. And yeah, it's just an extra emotional, weekend for us. We love playing them. And obviously it went pretty well for us, but they were really 2 close games. And with my former assistant coach over on the other side, that added an extra, good storyline to the whole thing.
Recruiting area? Is it worldwide? Is it New England based? Is it Quebec based? Is it Ontario? Or are you looking, you have big net cast all over?
Yeah, pretty much we'll go wherever the players are. I think worldwide is important for us as we're trying to chip away at some of the top of the ECAC team. So going places maybe they're not going. I have a pretty good track record in Europe from my time at UMD. So certainly trying to hit up those pipelines again. Obviously spending that much time in Minnesota allowed me to see a lot of players out there and make some good connections with coaches. So you'll see Minnesotans on our roster for sure. And like I mentioned, the East Coast here, Ontario, Quebec, New England is always going to be well represented. But we'll go anywhere, Western Canada, Europe, wherever we need to go to find the best players that we can that are right for our program.
The time that you were a player at Colgate to the time that you were the head coach at Dartmouth now, what's changed the most in women's hockey?
Oh, wow. Everything. Just the commitment level from not only athletes, coaches, but also athletic departments, colleges, universities, the way that they're supporting women's hockey at a much higher level, and understanding how important women's sports are, especially right now, the way you're seeing it in the PWHL. I think the sport as a whole has been elevated across the country. But in terms of the commitment and what it takes to play at this level, it's changed a ton from, your off ice commitment, your strength and conditioning. We talk a lot about nutrition, hydration, sleep, recovery, as well as I think just the IQ of what's going on the ice and other players at this level now and coaches at this level. It's a challenge, it's a grind, and it's really fun if you like that.
From the one team in the ECAC we say, if we don't have our A game, we're not beating them.
Well, where we are right now, I think that's anybody. I don't think you can sleep on any team in the ECAC, but certainly as we're a rebuilding program right now, we certainly can't. So that's what we've been doing the second half. That's helped us find some success is really improving our game from some of our early season struggles where we were learning how to play at this level and a little more structured the way we want to play. I think we're seeing some of the benefits of all of those hard times now.
How much is the PWHL going to help women's hockey going forward?
Oh, massively. It already is. Fans of the PWHL were not necessarily fans of NCAA hockey, but once they start hearing the storylines of the majority of those players, finding out where they came from, I think we're getting more crossover fans as a result. My conversations with graduating players, even, juniors, seniors, whatever they might be, a lot of it does revolve around the PWHL. And if it's not the PWHL, maybe Sweden to get ready for the PWHL. So I think opening doors for our graduating players to not just jump into the real world, but to be able to think about playing hockey for more than 4 or 5 years in college has been really unique and really special.
With the introduction of the women now playing in the Bean Pot, but playing at TD Bank, do you notice anything that's helped in recruiting with that?
Oh, I think, last year that was such a monumental event, having played in the Bean Pot with Harvard and knowing how special that was, even when we were on college campuses. It was awesome. There's nothing better than playing a tournament in January. It was February back then, whenever it is, for a trophy for the title of the city of Boston. But the coverage, the exposure, again, to fans of college hockey. But I think we gained a lot more fans out of that, just people that wanted to go for the experience, then get drawn in, I think, by women's players in particular. I think female athletes are really good with fans, with young kids, with families. And I think we're gaining a lot of steam from that. And I would also say that the colleges and universities, again, the support, the social media presence around it has been really good.
Maura, let's just say you started over and you were at St. Mark's now, and you were a young person looking to go to a college to play hockey. What message would you want to hear from the coach when they were recruiting you?
That's a great one. I would say, obviously, if you're looking for IVs, continue to work really hard in the classroom and find a passion in the classroom too. You know, not just work hard, but be passionate about what you're doing. Because I think when you're passionate about anything, you're better at it. There's just a higher level of commitment and desire, and that's what we're looking for on the ice too. So if you want to play college hockey, be passionate about it. You better love the game, because we're out there a lot, and you know we're practicing more than we're playing at the college level. So you really gotta love it, and love to learn about it, and love to be challenged and compete. I love competing every single day. I want my players to go hard at each other so that games aren't surprising. You know. So passion, compete, work hard.
I love going to Thompson Arena. You work every single day. Do you have any great memories at Thompson Arena, either as a player or a coach?
Well, this is not a great memory, but it's kind of funny, Pierre. I ended my career at Colgate here at Dartmouth. We were in the playoffs. We were like the bottom seed. They were the top back in 2002. So it wasn't going well anyways. But I broke my wrist in my final game of the season. I can't remember what period it was, and I had to leave the game and go to Dartmouth Hitchcock and get casted up. And that was my final moment of college hockey, was breaking my wrist here at Dartmouth while we were getting our butts kicked in the playoffs.
That's such a good story, though, because it's almost a premonition. You're coming back. You already knew what the hospital's name was. That's fantastic.
Right. It's a great hospital.
No, it is a great hospital. I agree 100%. What are you looking for from your ladies down the stretch? What do you want to see from your Dartmouth women down the stretch?
Continue to build, continue to play the way we're playing. I just am so impressed with the way we've grown and the way they embraced a new culture, new standards, new style of play. And I'm just so happy for them too to have some success here in the second half, so that they feel that the work is for a reason. But I want to continue to go, because I think we're a really hard team to play against. That's been our goal since the start of the year. Let's be the hardest team to play against, and I think we're doing that. And if we continue to do that, like you said about the A game, everybody else is going to need to bring their A game against us, because if they don't, you know, we could grab some ECAC points against them, and that's our goal.
Maura Crowell, thank you so much for being part of another awesome ECAC Decision Maker segment. I'm so happy for you. It's a great opportunity. I think you're going to build an amazing program at Dartmouth, and I can't wait to see it as a father of a proud Dartmouth alum. So thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. Always nice to do things like this. Thanks for the opportunity, and go Big Green.